The living room smelled like cinnamon and pine. My brother Marcus stood by the Christmas tree in his new Brunello Cucinelli sweater, holding a leather folder. Our parents sat on the cream sofa. My sister Rachel and her husband occupied the love seat. Uncle Tom leaned against the fireplace mantel. The air felt heavy with expectation. "I've been handling Emily's property situation," Marcus said. He opened the folder with theatrical precision. "Those 8 rentals she's been clinging to? Sold them. All of them. Closed yesterday." My coffee cup stopped halfway to my mouth. The ceramic felt suddenly hot against my palm. "The buildings were falling apart," Marcus continued. "She couldn't manage them properly. I found buyers willing to overlook the neglect. Got $320,000 total." Mom clasped her hands together. "Oh, Marcus. That's wonderful. I'm distributing the proceeds as Christmas gifts." He pulled out checks with a flourish. "Mom and Dad $80,000. Rachel and Jeff $80,000. Uncle Tom $40,000. The rest covers my commission and closing costs." I set my cup down carefully on the coffee table. The ceramic made a soft click against the wood. The sound seemed unnaturally loud in the moment. "Marcus," I said quietly, "you didn't sell anything." He didn't look at me. His eyes stayed fixed on the folder. "The paperwork's done. Money's already moved. You should be thanking me." Rachel hugged him. "This is incredible. We can finally renovate the kitchen. The contractor said he could start in January." Uncle Tom examined his check, running his thumb over the signature. $40,000. That'll cover the boat repair and then some. Might even upgrade the engine. Dad shook Marcus's hand firmly. "Son, you've always been the responsible one. Taking care of your sister like this." I watched Marcus's jaw tighten, that little tell when he's lying but committed to the lie. I'd seen it 1,000 times growing up. When he told Mom he hadn't taken money from her purse. When he told his college that I'd written his papers. When he told his wife he was working late. The muscle near his ear always twitched. "You should thank your brother," Mom said to me. "He saved you from those properties. You were drowning in responsibility you couldn't handle." I stood up. The room went silent for 3 seconds. I could hear the Christmas music playing softly from the kitchen speaker. "I'm going home," I said. "Emily, don't be ungrateful," Rachel said. "Marcus did you a favor. He could have just let you fail." I grabbed my coat from the hall closet. The fur collar felt heavy in my hands. As I walked to the door, I heard Marcus say, "She's always been difficult about accepting help. Can't admit when she's in over her head." I drove home in silence. The streets were empty. Christmas lights blurred past my windows. I thought about the gambler's fallacy, how I'd kept feeding coins into the slot machine of my family, convinced the jackpot of their respect was mathematically inevitable. Each achievement I'd hidden. Each property I'd acquired quietly. Each time I'd dressed down for family events so they wouldn't feel uncomfortable. All of it betting that eventually they'd see me clearly. They never looked closely enough to see anything. When I got home, I made a list. 8 properties. 8 property managers. 8 phone calls I needed to make in the morning. But first, I opened my laptop and created a spreadsheet titled The Ghost Ledger. Item 1. Years called struggling while managing $2.4 million in real estate. Cost equals self-worth, compounding annually with interest I'll never recover. Item 2. Christmas 2019. Marcus's promotion celebrated for 45 minutes with champagne. My first property purchase mentioned for 30 seconds. Nice. Cost equals pride in achievement. Cost equals family celebration. Item 3. Every family dinner where I wore Target clothes while they wore designer so they wouldn't feel inferior. Cost equals authentic self-expression. Cost equals being myself. Item 4. Thanksgiving 2021. Rachel's new car received 20 minutes of attention and photos. My second rental property received, that's a lot of responsibility. Cost equals family celebration of success. Item 5. Birthday 2020. Forgotten entirely while family threw Marcus a surprise party 2 weeks before his birthday. Cost equals mattering. Cost equals being remembered. Item 6. Emergency calls about Marcus's business opportunities that needed $5,000 loans I never got back. Cost equals $15,000 plus trust plus believing in family. Item 7. Mother's Day 2022. Spent cleaning mom's garage while Marcus watched football and drank beer. Cost equals Sunday never recoverable. Cost equals choice. Item 8. Every time I was asked to be understanding of Marcus's behavior while he faced no accountability. Cost equals justice accumulated over 15 years compounded. Item 9. Family gatherings where my rental income was called lucky, while Marcus's sales job was hard work. Cost equals recognition of effort. Item 10. Christmas 2020. My property investment called risky while Marcus's crypto gambling called visionary. Cost equals being taken seriously. The ledger grew to 47 items. I stopped at midnight. The ghost ledger never really ends. It just stops being recorded. December 26th, 6:47 a.m. I made coffee. The morning was cold and sharp. Frost covered my windows. I started calling. Riverside Property Management? This is Emily Chin. I need you to call this number at 9 a.m. exactly. I gave them Marcus's cell. Tell him he doesn't own 2847 Riverside Drive. Use those exact words. It's important you say it exactly that way. 7 more calls. Same message. Staggered times between 9 o'clock and 9:45 a.m. I gave each property manager specific instructions. Professional tone. Factual statement. No elaboration. At 9:02 a.m. my phone rang. Marcus. I answered on the third ring. Good morning. What the fuck did you do? His voice cracked on fuck. I could hear panic underneath the anger. I'm confused. What's wrong? Riverside Property Management just called me. They said I don't own the property. They said only you're authorized to discuss it. Well, I said slowly, pouring myself more coffee. You don't. Silence. I heard him breathing heavily like he'd been running. Emily. The checks. I wrote $240,000 in checks. I know. I was there. I saw you hand them out. From the sale proceeds. From what sale, Marcus? What closing documents do you have? Another call beeped in. Marcus, I have to go. Sounds like you're having a busy morning. I didn't answer my phone for the next hour. 17 calls from Marcus. 6 from Rachel. 4 from Mom. 3 from Dad. 1 from Uncle Tom. 18 text messages ranging from confused to furious. At 10:30 a.m. I drove to my real estate attorney's office. Patricia Wu had represented me for 6 years since my first property purchase. Her office smelled like leather and old books. He forged documents? Patricia asked, reviewing the notes I'd brought. No documents exist. He just told the family he'd sold properties he doesn't own and wrote checks against money he doesn't have. That's check fraud. Wire fraud if he moved any funds between accounts. Potentially identity theft if he used your name on anything. I need documentation of ownership for all 8 properties. Notarized. Also, I need you to send a cease and desist to Marcus for unauthorized representation. Patricia nodded, making notes on her legal pad. I'll have everything by end of day. Are you pressing charges? Not yet. I'm pressing consequences. By noon Marcus was at my door. I watched through the window as he rang the bell 4 times. He looked pale. His Brunello sweater had a coffee stain on the collar. His hair was uncombed. He kept checking his phone. I didn't open the door. My phone rang. Wait. I answered. Emily, what is happening? Rachel's voice was high and tight. Marcus is saying the checks are going to bounce. We already paid the contractor a deposit. $10,000. He's scheduled to start January 3rd. Rachel, did Marcus ever show you actual closing documents? HUD statements? Title transfers? Anything official? Silence. He showed us checks, she said quietly. Checks aren't closing documents. Checks aren't proof of sale. But you do own those properties? Yes. So you could have sold them. I could have. I didn't. Marcus had no authority to sell them. He doesn't even have keys. Emily, we're family. You have to fix this. The contractor is going to sue us. I took a breath. I'm not punishing you, Rachel. I'm just no longer subsidizing the idea that I'm incompetent. Marcus lied to you. That's his problem to fix. I hung up. At 2 p.m. my phone rang from an unknown number. I answered. Miss Chin? This is Detective Morrison, Financial Crimes Unit. We received a report about fraudulent property transactions. Do you have time to discuss? Yes. Who filed the report? Your brother's bank. When 8 checks bounced simultaneously, it triggered automatic fraud protocols. The system flagged unusual activity. I met Detective Morrison at the precinct at 4 p.m. I brought my complete property portfolio. Every deed, every title insurance policy, every tax record, every mortgage statement paid in full. The folder was 3 inches thick. Your brother wrote $240,000 in checks against a non-existent transaction, Detective Morrison said, spreading the documents on her desk. That's textbook check fraud. Possibly criminal impersonation. What happens now? We investigate. Interview the family members who received checks. Document his statements about the alleged sales. If he claimed to have authority to act on your behalf, that's identity fraud. If he used your name on any documents, that's forgery. I haven't decided if I want to press charges. Detective Morrison looked at me carefully over her reading glasses. Miss Chin, the bank already filed a report. This is moving forward with or without you. Your cooperation just determines how clear the evidence is. I provided everything. Recorded timeline of his statements. Names of witnesses. The checks he'd given out. His claim that he'd handled my property situation. His statement that the buildings were falling apart. Every lie, documented and time-stamped. By 6 p.m. my parents were calling. I answered Mom's call. Emily, there's been a misunderstanding, Mom said. Her voice had that careful quality she used when trying to manage family conflict. By selling properties he doesn't own? He thought you'd given him power of attorney. He said you discussed it. When did I do that, Mom? Show me the document. Silence. He's family, Dad's voice came through. She had me on speaker. Family helps each other. You know Marcus was just trying to help you. Dad, I own 8 rental properties free and clear. No mortgages. Total value, $2.4 million. I've owned them for 6 years. Marcus knew this. He told you they were struggling. They're not. They generate $17,000 in monthly net income. He lied to steal from me and defraud you. I heard Mom's sharp inhale. Pause. Then, what? 2.4 million? Dad said. Yes. Want to see the documentation? I can email it right now. 20 minutes later they were at my house. I showed them everything. Every property deed with my name. Every bank statement showing rental deposits. Every tax return showing the income. Every maintenance record showing professional management. Mom sat on my sofa, holding the deed to 2847 Riverside Drive. Her hands trembled slightly. You bought this 6 years ago? Yes. You never told us. I told you. Christmas 2019. You said it was a lot of responsibility, and changed the subject to Marcus's car lease within 90 seconds. Dad's hands trembled slightly as he reviewed the tax returns. $17,000 a month? Net. After all expenses, property management fees, maintenance reserves, insurance and taxes. Why didn't you say something? Mom asked. I looked at her carefully. I've been saying something for 6 years. You've been listening to Marcus instead. Every time I mentioned my properties, you looked worried and changed the subject. They left without speaking. The door closed softly behind them. I heard their car start in the driveway. They sat there for 5 minutes before driving away. December 27th, Rachel's contractor called her. The $10,000 deposit check bounced. He threatened to sue and put a lien on their house. He called me crying. I didn't answer. Uncle Tom's boat repair shop called him. The $40,000 check bounced. He'd already authorized $35,000 in work. Parts were ordered. Labor was scheduled. He called me 4 times. I let it go to voicemail. Mom and Dad's check bounced. They'd written checks for Christmas gifts to their other grandchildren. Those checks bounced. The grandchildren called confused. Mom called me at 11 p.m. Emily, people are asking us for money we don't have. That sounds difficult. Can you help? Just this once. No. But you have the money. You just showed us. Mom, I have money because I manage it carefully. Marcus stole from me and defrauded you. Those are separate problems. Both are his to solve, not mine. I hung up. December 28th, Detective Morrison called. Your brother hired a lawyer. His lawyer called asking if you'd be willing to settle this without charges if he pays restitution. What restitution? He didn't succeed in stealing anything. My properties are still mine. Restitution for the financial harm to your family members. The bounced checks created cascade problems. That's between him and them. I'm not the injured party financially. He is. His lawyer suggested $50,000 to make this go away. For what? I'm not the injured party financially. He made promises he couldn't keep. That's his problem. So you won't settle? There's nothing to settle. He committed fraud. That's a criminal matter. The investigation proceeds or it doesn't. I'm not negotiating. January 15th, Marcus was charged with 8 counts of check fraud and 1 count of attempted identity theft. The district attorney's office moved forward without requiring my active participation. The bank's fraud report provided sufficient documentation. February 3rd, Marcus's lawyer negotiated a plea deal. 2 years probation. $50,000 fine. Mandatory restitution to any family members who lost money because of the bounced checks. Community service. Fraud counseling. Rachel and Jeff lost $10,000 on the contractor deposit. Uncle Tom lost $35,000 on the boat repair. Mom and Dad lost $8,000 in bounced gifts to grandchildren. Marcus owed them $53,000 total. He sold his car to pay it. A BMW he'd had for 2 years. Took a second mortgage on his house. Borrowed from his retirement account. His wife was furious. I heard through Rachel that they'd separated. March 1st, Patricia called. Marcus's lawyer is asking if you'd be willing to meet with him. No. He wants to apologize personally. Face to face. He can apologize to the people he actually harmed. I'm not interested in his performance of remorse. Your parents are saying you're tearing the family apart. Marcus tore the family apart when he committed fraud. I'm just declining to sew it back together at my expense. I'm not the glue for their dysfunction. April 10th, I received a letter from Marcus. 12 pages. Handwritten. Explaining how he'd felt overshadowed. How he'd wanted to prove he was valuable. How he'd convinced himself I didn't really need the properties. How he'd thought I'd understand. I read it once. Then I filed it in a folder labeled Accountability Theater. 6 months later, my savings account reached its highest point ever. The $17,000 monthly income one no longer had to hide or explain or apologize for accumulated beautifully. I booked a trip to Barcelona. Something I'd always wanted but had postponed because family gatherings always seemed to conflict with travel plans. The silence in my life feels different now. It's not the silence of being ignored. It's the silence of having closed a door on people who confused access with entitlement. I saw Marcus once accidentally at a coffee shop in March. He looked older. Tired. Gray at the temples. He saw me and turned around, leaving his coffee order at the counter. I didn't follow him. My mother texts occasionally. Brief messages. Hope you're well. I respond, I am. Nothing more. The conversation never develops beyond that. Rachel sends Christmas cards now. Last year's included a photo of her family and a note, "We think of you." I didn't respond. This year's arrived yesterday. Same message. I'm not punishing them. I'm just no longer subsidizing their version of reality. The one where I'm struggling, incompetent, and grateful for their interference. The account is closed. The balance is 0. And I am finally in the black.